global warming, extinction of species, and possible nuclear winter. More than 90 scientists release report that Arctic is unraveling. The Arctic has been warming twice as fast as the rest of the planet for the past 50 years, the Observer reporting. Yes, I have no idea whether I don't know whether I'm going to continue doing my little international rants. And of course, in that case, I'm sorry if the planet happens to be destroyed, you know, and all the contents of the internet is, you know, hurled into space. And then, you know, some other, you know, it wouldn't be enough that they'd learn to speak English. They would have to learn to speak Finnish. Because, you know, there's so many things wrong in Finland. You know, everything's going to the devil in the entire Western world. That it's like, it's almost like one doesn't really have the energy. I don't know, perhaps I'll just start ranting once a month in English or something. I don't know. It's very, very, very hard. Italian village will give $2,200 in cash to anyone willing to live there. Will also provide cheap housing at $55 a month. Snip Today reporting. I have no idea whether this offer is, you know, to all, you know, everybody in the European Union. You know, is anyone in the European Union who can. You know, the article said there's not much to do, but again, there are some very smart people who, you know, just appreciate a nice countryside and who can, you know, just have fun indoors, so to speak. But, you know, if the environment is so nice, then you can actually, you know, go outside as well. I mean, the village looked beautiful. And I personally, I can't, unfortunately, you know, if it's allowed for EU citizens to move there, you know, if for all EU citizens, I can't. But as a hint to anyone, if somebody happens to see this in the EU, you know, go and check that one out. U.S. firm in Iraq ignores smuggling, security risks for F-16s. American company paid nearly $700 million to secure an Iraqi base for F-16 fighters. Turned a blind eye to alcohol smuggling, theft, security violation, and allegations of sex trafficking. Terminated investigators who uncovered wrongdoing. AP News reporting. Yes. Boy, 10, killed in an attempted blasphemy lynching in Pakistan. 5 other people wounded after mob attacked police station in bid to seize Hindu man accused of insulting Islam, The Guardian reporting. Thousands of conservative Muslims took to the streets of the Indonesian capital to call for the jailing of its minority Christian governor, who is on trial on charges of blaspheming the Quran. This is from Fox News, but if true, in Ireland, Stephen Fry under police investigation for blasphemy after branding God an utter maniac. The Independent reporting. And it's like a 2009 Ireland, which is supposed to be, member of the European Union, and a Western industrialized country. It's from year 2009, I understand, this blasphemy law. and we should be fighting off, an ecological disaster that'll destroy us all, with these people, with the Irish and with the Indonesians, with Pakistanis. It's not going to happen. 7 abstained. No country voted against Saudi Arabia on UN Women's Rights Panel. Sveriges Radio, I think. Sveriges Radio. Oh, can't remember. Reporting. Let's have that one again. No country voted against Saudi Arabia on United Nations, UN Women's Rights Panel. Sometimes you wonder, whether you're reading some sort of a, material for a comic. UK killer whale died with extreme levels of toxic pollutants. The Guardian reporting. Quite literally, every bit of this whale that had, died and beached, every bit of it totally polluted. Strong language. Swearing makes you stronger. Psychologists confirm. It isn't a big and it isn't clever, but the benefits known to anyone who has moved home, climbed a mountain, or pushed a broken down car have finally been confirmed. According to psychologists, swearing makes you stronger. The Guardian reporting. Again, what can I say? I knew it. UK government is secretly planning to break encryption to spy on people's phones, reveals leaked document. The Independent reporting. Again, you better take it with a grain of salt, but still. No. Brexit boom creates record number of UK billionaires. The Guardian reporting. Well, spank me on the bottom and call me Sally. Worried world urges Trump not to pull out of Paris climate agreement. The Guardian reporting. Just like, the world is some sort of a hero and not, a lapdog to the United States, destroying one part of the, of the globe at a time, like everybody else would be some sort of a hero, like we would be really doing something to prevent this ecological disaster. The heroic world begs old loofah-faced tiny hands Alzheimer patient, not to, I don't know. All I can, pretty much say to that is dear, memory sick old Donny, go ahead and pull out. I mean, we're destroyed anyway. Fuck you, Donny. So, my little note here, because there are several things that I've, thought about. So perhaps this is a, rant about many things. The first one was I actually saw a cool interview of Bashar al-Assad. And I do have to say that I found him much more intelligent and knowledgeable as a leader than most, for example, Finnish leaders. Not to mention any of the U.S. presidents since Jimmy Carter. And unfortunately, yes, it does indeed seems that that this whole war in Syria is another total fake from the United States. And of course, since Europe has been playing on, it's has been in it. It's like with Libya and with arms trade. I mean, I was absolutely. I had no idea that Finland had sold arms to Saudi Arabia. I only found out, something like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I'll never recover. So, we're all, even those of us who never imagined it, we're all war criminals. Wonderful. But anyway, yeah, you know, it would seem that al-Assad is actually, you know, as much of an okay guy as any, you know, leader, world leader. So all this suffering in Syria, and in a way, lots of the migrant crisis, again, another show just to make money with arms and new oil pipes. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And from that, we get to, of course, to Venezuela. Because it is like 99.99% certain that it is again another ruse by, you know, I mean, all the intelligence services, you know, UK, US, they must be there. And then some sort of, you know, other instances that, you know, that create these situations. And I can swear to you that, you know, that if there's some sort of extra, something, you know, too much killing in Venezuela, and now, you know, US has to intervene, and the, you know, international forces of good have to intervene. I'm warning you, not gonna buy it. Not, you know, not gonna buy it. But again, in so many situations like Venezuela, you know, you get this, you know, this was my first idea, you know, my first little rant. There seems to be this sort of a problem, you know, they're totally dependent on, you know, oil. Can you say crude oil, you know, unrefined oil or something? You know, they're so totally dependent on you know, some basic, and they can't seem to diversify their, you know, their products, and they're in trouble when, you know, when the price of the one commodity, in this case oil, goes down, and they suddenly and of course the one idea that comes to mind, because they can't all be that stupid, you know, the leaders, especially the leaders in Venezuela, I don't think that have been that stupid. So is there again these same instances that then create these revolutions, regime change, interventions? Do they also have some sort of a way of, you know, of somehow with some sort of sleight of hand forcing certain countries in the world to be dependent on you know, on just some raw material that then, you know, can actually make their situation desperate? You know, is there some way of forcing countries to be dependent? You know, not to force countries not to become versified and you know, non-dependent of one, you know, uncertain raw material. I don't know. Again, I have absolutely no idea. But since it does come up every now and then, I mean, is that part of the game? Don't know. And then then I had this idea. I can't remember where it came. Well, I guess one does have to talk about of course, the AdPocalypse. I mean, not of course in any way affecting me in any way, but this AdPocalypse, it did seem to be somehow orchestrated. And in the same way that you have that you know, net neutrality in the United States is under threat, and that is disastrous, and maybe you know, something that then other countries would have to be, you know, any sort of should be wary of. In the same way as one asks, you know, could there be some alternative to the internet that is not dependent on these cable providers and so on, you know, that you could have some sort of an alternate to the internet that is now, if the elite is actually gonna, stop free information completely with ending net neutrality in the United States. In the same fashion, with this AdPocalypse, YouTube, it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Oh boy, it was so good to begin with, and before bloody Google. Might it be a good idea to actually start a new platform? Might it be at this point feasible to start thinking of another, and perhaps something that could not be taken over by a giant corporation? I don't know. But since the AdPocalypse has affected so many people, could there be some sort of will for creativeness? Should there be some other, forum created? I don't know, because what next, so to speak? Don't know. But then the last I don't know, idea that came to me, it was it happens continuously, but one that again reminded me of it was it came from the tennis world. Very strange. And it again includes the Young Turks, the whole, if I'm not mistaken, the whole thing. And again, since, the Young Turks is something that I follow constantly. We really would need something like the Young Turks in Europe, a European Union of the Young Turks. We have no real independent media in Europe. We would desperately need it. So anyway, it was about PC Outrage, and this because again, what is now called the right wing, who are of course all just out of the scale Nazis, and then suddenly, ordinary people are suddenly left-wingers, even though they wouldn't know a left-winger if one, crossed them on the street and hit them on the head. But, what is now called right-wingers, they, especially in the United States, they talk of PC outrage. And, of course, political correctness has existed a longer time than this concept. But already, I can't remember, it was somebody pretty clever who already talked against political correctness. I think it was I think what was already in the 70s. Well, anyway, and again, like with so many other things, you feel that those nutters who are called right-wingers at the moment, almost everything in their craziness, they have just a tiny grain of truth, just tiny bit, and everything else is craziness. But I got this feeling of a certain grain of truth with this one. It was Ilya Nastashe, if I'm not mistaken, who made a racist joke about Serena Williams's upcoming baby. And I mean he was viciously attacked. And I mean, again, tennis players, they aren't the smartest piece in the pod. And you know, when somebody, again, who is not in the middle of you know, who doesn't live in a country that is filled with you know, where you need Black Lives Matter, you know, where you know, black men are not shot in the back by police and then, you know, try to be framed as guilty ones, and then, you know, have jury members who say that they just don't convict police officers, or indict police officers. You know, it's not such a big thing in you know, in the world where Eli Nastase has lived. It is stupid, impolite, and beyond question, you know, what can be considered racist. But it should be quite enough to say that Eli Nastase, like so many other, you know, athletes or former athletes, is an idiot. You know. And, you know, he talked crap. You know, and people could call him names. You idiot. And that's it. You know, terminating his contracts or throwing you out of, you know, some tournament, and then, you know, this actually, you know, even the Young Turks are taking sides after what, you know, the United States have again done to tennis. I mean, you know, people like, you know, Jimmy Connors, John McEnroe, Monica Seles, Sharapova, you know, who both, you know, these screamers, they were actually trained in the United States, you know, and the Williams sisters, you know, with you know, with screaming and bad behavior and power tennis, you know, they completely destroyed the sport. I mean, tennis is unwatchable. You know, so I mean, the United States have no right to talk about tennis. They've totally destroyed the sport. But still, you know, this awful noise for this pathetic, stupid comment by a complete idiot. That's a huge overreaction. And such an overreaction, you know, and you know, statements, you know, official statements, how this is unacceptable, you know, and termination of contract, and you know, and then, you know, news segments that you know, that draw in much more horrid cases of racism, you know, simply overreaction to stupidity, to obvious stupidity that should, in a civilized world, could be dealt with. This guy is an idiot. Shut up. It does lend a little bit of credence to the right wing, what is known as the right wing, you know, complain about, you know, some people being whatever, snowflakes, too sensitive, PC outrage. That sort of an overreaction. That is PC outrage. And I mean, truly, it's rather nasty. You know, that stupid people cannot make stupid comments. You know, if you don't ever want to hear stupid comments, you know, please hire cleverer people. And again, most US athletes are out at that point. And that led to this idea of that it is possible that PC outrage is one of the contributing factors to, you know, post-truth world. And again, because people somehow find themselves now in a post-truth reality. And one should try and, try and find all the possible elements that have brought us to this. And this did bring about the idea that perhaps PC outrage, just a small bit, but it's one bit of it. And I mean, if I'll rant again, let's hope I'll find more of them. But I do feel that political correctness done overboard is one of them. Because again, it's a slippery slope. Everything is. If you're either truthful in every situation and, and take things calmly, or you overreact and you're not truthful anymore. And every time when there is, in one area or another, when there is an overreaction and when truth is not served and common sense is not served, you move a little bit away from truth. But anyway, that was my bit for today. I think, again, there are so many things, but I think that's it. All the best. The weather this spring here in Finland has been very interesting. We're in the zone where, where if an eco disaster is coming, where the kind of disastrous weather we've had is exactly what you might expect. So hopefully we'll meet again. Let's see.